All right, Pat, I wanted to be a little bit happier starting this off. I wanted to say that the Canes finished game one up 1-0 versus the Vegas Golden Knights, have an opportunity to go up 2-0 on Thursday night, but that's not what we're here to talk about right now. The Canes lose 5-4. They're down 0-1 in the series, but they do have a great opportunity to come back. Let's talk about what went right, what went wrong for the Carolina Hurricanes in this game.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to start working on my gambling references because aces felt wild in this one. They're hanging around, chasing the river. Too much left up to chance.
Yes.
Right? I thought the Canes' skill showed itself early. Obviously, Nikolai Ehlers comes out with two just explosive goals, 30 seconds into the game, and you're just like, holy cow, this is really going to happen. Then things get a little bit humble after that. 3 unanswered goals from Vegas. And the first one is a deflection, sure. But really the rest of them, the rest of the game, were all high danger chances. A lot of them in the slot. A lot of them examples of the Canes not able to pinch in along the boards or win a puck or clear the puck out of the zone. Reminded me a lot of game 1 versus the Montreal Canadiens. The big difference to me here, though, is that this Vegas team has Stanley Cup experience and pedigree, and that showed itself in this game. They got a heck of a lot of skill to match.
That fourth goal that Vegas scored essentially it felt like I was watching the Canes play the Canes, right? They couldn't clear the puck, and Vegas kept it in, got these guys tired. There was so much skating time for the guys on the ice. Can't remember who was on the ice at that time. I want to say it was a stall line, and then they eventually just cashed it in and got that goal to go up 4-3. And it just one of those moments where you feel like if the Canes could do it a little bit better, maybe that goal doesn't happen. But I do want to give the Canes props, though. You saw, I guess, skill in a way that we probably haven't seen throughout the playoffs, right? Yeah. With the 2 Nikolai Ehlers goals, essential breakaways, right? A lot of times there were breakaway opportunities for the Canes that couldn't cash in. I think about Logan Stankoven's breakaway opportunity tonight. He couldn't cash that in. That's how the rest of the playoffs have looked. But in this game, Nikolai Ehlers, 25 seconds into the game, the fastest goal to start the Stanley Cup Final in 50 years.
Wow.
The third fastest ever. That's exactly, I felt like Eric Tolsky's fingerprints were all over this game. You see that with those first 2 goals. Canes had other opportunities. It just felt like after the first period, they really couldn't get a groove. It didn't feel like they really had, I guess, any type of a momentum after that. It kind of went back and forth between the two teams. And so you wonder what the adjustments are going to be between games 1 and games 2.
Right, because we've gotten so used to them playing that suffocating brand of hockey, the shot suppression, stats like, the Montreal Canadiens icing the puck more times than they shot it. It felt like every game Montreal was held under 15 shots, and that just wasn't the story in this one. Vegas completely outshot the Canes in the second period. Very lopsided period.
Them to 3, I want to say.
Yeah,
shots on goal.
You're right.
The goal that stalled.
Now, the Canes, I thought, were the better team for most of the third period. The shots kind of even out. Canes ultimately have more shots in the game. But, yeah, they just didn't have their signature puck possession, signature puck suppression. The fact that they were able to still score 4 goals despite that was something I think, to build off going forward. And you already talked about Ehlers and talking about Eric Tolsky's fingerprints. The third goal is the result of Keandre Miller keeping the puck in the zone.
For sure.
Getting it off to Jordan Stahl, looking like it's 2009 again with his brother Eric Stahl signing the siren in the building. But to use a joke that we heard from former colleague Joe Ovius, a couple Duke guys were in the building tonight. Con Knippel, John Shire, who got their share of booze and a blown lead here for the Hurricanes. But I do want to give them credit. I mean, they battle back. They get 3 unanswered goals from Vegas. The Canes tied at 3. They tied at 4. Yeah. And at that point, I think they're undefeated in overtime in the playoffs. You're thinking, all right, they're either going to win it in regulation, they're going to win it in overtime. And I think Vegas kind of proved that, no, you want to beat us, you got to beat us.
For sure.
Because we got that pedigree we talked about. We got that skill. This is going to be potentially a long series or a short one if they can't, clean up that time and space that they're giving to Vegas.
I kind of wonder what Rod Brindamore is going to use from this game for the team to build on moving forward. One of the things I just noticed from all the goals is that Vegas will really crowd you, especially that neutral zone. It's very hard to get it past that neutral zone. And then once you do get it into your offensive zone, they're essentially forming a little triangle right there in the middle. And so a lot of the shots have to come from the outside. And so it gives them almost an advantage. It's hard to make cross ice passes to move Carter Hart. But the times they did score, Carter Hart was either facing one-on-ones or he got moved. So Ehlers, when he scored his 2 goals, Vegas crowded down into the corners. The puck is able to get out, and then Ehlers is able to outskate the defender. He's able to score goals one-on-one. And then another for Stahl, puck already in the corner. They're able to clear it out. Stahl able to move Carter Hart, moves over towards the other side, gets it top shelf, able to go above his shoulder, gets the 3rd goal. Shane Gostisbehere, it felt like almost a similar thing, right?
It was like a loose puck, basically.
Loose puck. Everybody from Vegas is all on one side. Gostisbehere is free over here towards the left. He's able to shoot it past Carter Hart and get it in. That might be something for the Canes to build on moving forward, to try to get Vegas to move back and forth. But you're going to have to win your one-on-ones. You're going to have to win pucks off the board. Vegas is very good at that. Canes are very good at that. I felt like that was very even tonight versus other times when the Canes normally dominate teams winning the puck off the boards.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it 2 ways. It's encouraging that Carolina was able to cash those chances that they got, but then I'm worried about the fact that they weren't able to like generate chances through a set offense.
For sure.
Right? And no goals on the power play.
For sure.
None given up on the penalty kill. But you're going to have to be able to generate more reliable chances, which is what this team is built on. Like, the whole thing is ironic to me that they played this game where they're just cashing in on skill and not their system. But again, I mean, when we were on our broadcast last night, you talked about the video session that Rod had after game 1. And I imagine the Canes are not going to skate here the next day. And like you said, they might be doing that again. It's none of this makes me feel like obviously Vegas could win the Stanley Cup, right? They have, but this doesn't feel to me.
I feel like the Canes are in trouble.
Yeah, it doesn't feel to me like a Florida situation where like a team is more physical, more skilled, more overpowering. The Hurricanes have proven they can win on the road. They have now lost twice in the entire postseason. But what's happening right now with Vegas is real. To me, going into the series, I wanted to bet on the character of the Canes, the experience of the Canes, the chemistry of the Canes. But several guys from this Vegas team were on the 2023 team that won the Cup. And whatever Tortorella has done here has lit a fire under this group, and it's working. And when you see guys like Mitch Marner on your second line, you're like, man. And you said to me as we were sitting here by the glass, like, they're big too.
Yes. That's one of the things I noticed. We sit up high, so it's sometimes hard to tell who's bigger, who's smaller. But when we came down towards the end of the 3rd period, and I just was able to just look at what the size difference was at ice level, Vegas is bigger, but it's not like the Canes are super small. It's just that Vegas is bigger. So the Canes are really going to have to be physical for the rest of this series. And as you said, just kind of what you were alluding to right there, it doesn't feel like all hope is lost after game 1 like it did, especially in 2023 versus Florida, right? Yeah. It felt like that team completely outclassed the Canes, and Canes would have to play perfect hockey to end up getting a win. The Canes can get a win. They could have won tonight.
Yeah.
It's a few bounces here or there makes the difference in the game. I don't feel like the Canes are outclassed, but they really have to make sure they're on their P's and Q's and try to win some of these 50-50 puck battles that they weren't winning tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating when you score 4 goals at home and don't win.
Yeah.
And you give up the home ice advantage. Like, those things are gonna eat you. So it's not a game that I think you could just like throw out. Like game 1 versus the Canadians, where you're just like, wow, that was not us at all. I mean, this wasn't the Hurricanes game, but I also don't think it's like something that you can completely write off as an outlier either. A couple other things I think to mention: Bill Belichick in the house.
Yeah.
We mentioned the Duke guys in the house.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick in here sitting next to Gary Bettman. Belichick enjoying his, the fruits of everything that comes with being the Carolina football coach.
And the highest paid person in the state of North Carolina.
We'd like to see some more wins, maybe, as he enjoys all of the fruits of that labor. But nice to have him in the building. Did he get a boo or anything from the fans?
I don't think they showed. Did they show on a big screen? I don't remember them showing on a big screen, but I know he was shown on the broadcast. I don't remember them showing him on a big screen.
Yeah, I don't remember that either.
John Shire did get booed.
John Shire did get the boo.
Get booed.
And he, what is he thinking? It's like, God, what do I got to do? So one of the Vegas reporters was sitting next to me like, are they booing John Shire? I'm like,
yes.
Girl, this is an NC State. This is an NC State building.
Yeah. You don't understand this market right here. Like the people who aren't NC State fans here, are Carolina fans.
Yeah.
So, like, he's going to be double-hated. It did feel like it was more of an NC State boo, though, than a
Yeah.
Carolina boo. If this was mostly Carolina fans, I think that boo would probably be just as loud as they booed Vegas.
Although with the ticket prices the way they are, I mean, I got to think there might be some more Duke alums. I don't know.
If they made it down from New Jersey, possibly.
Yeah. Well, they're probably too busy going to the New York Knicks NBA Finals game.
Yeah.
On a more serious note, again, and I don't like to hammer this because I like all the guys and I know how hard they play, but it's still hard to kind of overlook the top line. You can't ask them anymore about it. Rod every single time is like, they're the top line guys for a reason. We need to see them on the score sheet. And here they are again, not coming through. Jarvis in the third period, I thought he had it.
Yeah.
Really good glove save from Carter Hart, who let out a sigh of relief when he saw it in his glove.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, I think if it's me at this point, and I can't remember if it must have been the Philly series, where Rod did switch up the lines a little bit. And I think if it's me, I'm considering swapping Ehlers and Jarvis because that's the easiest one to me, just because Jarvis has experience with Stahl and Martinuk, and Ehlers is clearly talented enough to be a top line guy, and I don't think it's going to hurt anybody's ego. It's not going to shake up the locker room. It's just like a little vibe switch.
Yeah.
Because I just watch Svech, Aho, and Jarvis, and I feel them forcing it a little bit.
Yeah.
You can kind of sense it. Like, did they want to contribute so badly? Yeah. They want to do it, and it just feels like maybe they're forcing it a little bit too much.
I definitely agree with that. But just to do the broadcast thing where I find the opposite side of that for you, just to make this a little bit more entertaining, you wonder if switching up the lines right now at this point of the playoffs would have a negative impact, right? Like, do what got you here. Maybe this was just one game and we'll see what happens. But you're absolutely right. Like, there's a lot left to be desired from this first line, from the Carolina Hurricanes. They, I thought, had one light go out and had another light go out. I thought that they had some decent opportunities. They skated well, I think, versus the Vegas Golden Knights, but it just doesn't feel like they generate enough chances. It did feel like at times Aho and Jarvis were a little tentative. Right, it's Svechnikov who's really doing the dirty work on that line.
Yeah.
Right, and he's the one who's a little bit more aggressive. You kind of want that from Jarvis, and part of me wonders if Jarvis is still a little bit banged up. I've kind of quietly thought that throughout the playoffs. Haven't really said it here or on television, but that's something I've kind of thought about. Like, is he still a little bit banged up? I know he had some shoulder issues last year.
He crashing into the net like with his And I mean, I've seen him throughout the season getting various treatment on it. I mean, it's hockey, right? Like, he's healthy enough to play. I mean, the guy played through a torn labrum in his shoulder for
he's tough.
The whole season a couple of years ago.
He's definitely tough. I'm not saying he's not tough, but you do wonder if he's a little banged up. So
sure, I think at any time, I mean, those guys have proven they are Carolina's three most consistent offensive players, not just this season, really the totality here. Of almost this 8-year run, almost all of them. I mean, Jarvis is the youngest of them, so he's been here for all 8 years. But essentially, that's been the skill of the team, right? And Svechnikov is having the best regular season he's had since he tore his ACL. And Sebastian Aho is as reliable as it gets. So I agree with you there. I think the last thing I want to hit on is probably Freddie. We talked about the goals that Vegas scored. He's a goalie that he's not going to make the big mistake, right? Like Pyotr Kochetkov would make the spectacular save, but he'd flop around and maybe mishandle a puck and miss an easy one. Freddie's never going to let, a lot of like soft goals in, but he's not necessarily going to make the spectacular ones either. And so many of these games in the playoffs, he's made just enough of those spectacular ones. And you forget about them later because they're saves. But in this one, if you just made one or two, obviously it's a different game. And that's why goaltending is so key.
I have to go back and look at all of them, but I know for sure I felt like he couldn't do anything about the first goal. That was just a redirection. I mean, that was perfect play from Vegas. It's hard for any goalie to stop that, any team to stop that. I felt like I want to say maybe the third goal. I think it was the third goal from Vegas. It felt like there was nothing you could do with that. It was like simply one-on-one in the slot. You put it,
bang, bang.
Over the shoulder, go top shelf. Hard for anybody to stop that. Couple of those others, I have to go back and look at the fifth again because we watched it from ice level, didn't get a chance to see the replays. But a couple of the others, I felt like that's where Freddie should be super Freddie, You know, that's what got him through in Game 5 versus Montreal. That's what really got him through versus Ottawa. He was super Freddie versus Ottawa. And in some ways, I would say Vegas reminds me of Ottawa. You know, as far as like the size and the play style, you kind of compare them to any other team that they played so far. You got to be super Freddie to make those saves. I feel like he'll come back and he'll probably have better games moving forward.
Well, hey, you waited 20 years to get here. Who wants a short series anyway?
Let's go to Vegas twice.
Let's go to Vegas twice. We're betting on black. We're betting on red. Hey, because that's both Carolina's colors. We're betting on 17. We're betting on Brind'Amour. Let's go. So a lot of adjustments to be made. A lot more storylines to discuss. Chris Lee and I, Ryan Murphy, WRAL, we're here the rest of the way. Let's go, baby.
Yeah. Like, subscribe, share, hype, comment. Let us know what you think. We'll be back tomorrow.